Hey, what's going on? You're now tuned into the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave. We're back with our monthly recap episode. We missed it for a few months. Kind of been busy, tied up with a lot of things,
Yeah.
interviews and events, but we're back. So this is something that we don't want to miss out on. Talking about all the upcoming events and movies and news. So this is definitely a big piece of our podcast. So we appreciate everybody checking this out. Uh, Dave, so what have you been up to, man?
Uh, I don't know. It feels like time has gone by pretty fast and a lot's happened in the 3 months that we've been away from this. But yeah, I mean, I've actually caught up with a lot of like the current horror films that are out, which, typically is not my strong suit.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good about that, but also like just kind of keeping up to date on all the horror news. And there's been a ton lately. If you like all things horror and want to get the best horror news, interviews, and reviews,
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell to follow us and satisfy all your horror
yeah,
needs. It's crazy because, like you said, it's not just strong suit. Like just
yeah.
seeing you being able to see Imaginary the opening weekend, that was big news right there.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone should be proud.
And with decent quality.
I know, I know. Yeah, I did
Uh,
acknowledge that I saw Night Swim not in the best quality, but I don't think it really affected it too much.
yeah. Yeah. See, we have to go that far back. Yeah, Night Swim had released. That was one of the big films that released, in theaters for horror, and
Yeah.
not a lot of love on that film for a lot
No,
of people. So
a lot of people were mad when they left that theater. I read a lot of angry tweets and, posts and stuff like that. And I think people just wanted to start the year off with something a little stronger. But
yeah.
Night Swim
So
was not it.
what did you think about it?
I thought it had potential to be something okay.
Hmm.
Like the storyline or the plot like could have been okay, and I just feel like it just never amounted to anything. Like
Yeah.
I spent most of the movie saying like this is all right. This isn't
Hmm.
as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then the end, I was like, no, no.
Yeah. I had watched it twice in the theater, so I went into it again thinking like, let me give it another shot. Because the first time I watched it, I was sitting there thinking like, you know what? Like, I don't think it's probably as bad as we think it is. Maybe it's just the timing's off. This shouldn't have been like the first horror movie release, at the start of the
Yeah,
year. But it was, it is what it is. Like I said before, same thing with Imaginary because we just had
yeah.
our well, we did spoil it,
We
right?
did spoilers on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that whole film and we talked about how they're PG-13 films, those films aren't they're not for us, you know what I mean? So when going back, like some kids enjoyed it, like in the theater, just that experience. So we're vets in the game, so that it's not gonna
Mhm.
hit the same for us.
I feel
So,
like I could envision kids being more scared with Night Swim than Imaginary.
yeah, yeah, it
Like
was.
there were some jump scares and like
Hmm.
some silly things in Night Swim. I do feel like Night Swim had potential. It put in maybe different hands or something to
Yeah,
be an okay film. Just that's not what we got. So
yeah, definitely. Same thing. Like I had said, I had gone to see Imaginary again. This time I had
yeah.
taken the kids. My kids thought it was okay. Like they didn't think it was like the greatest film ever.
Hmm.
My son said that it was creative, and so I have to agree on that. It was something cool, but it just wasn't. It didn't go the way we thought it would. So,
Yeah. Yep. So aside from that,
hmm.
the theaters have been pretty like void of horror. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that kind of slipped into theaters in between, and I think that was it.
No, for horror, no,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah,
So I know in the next few weeks we're going to get a few,
yeah.
which is great. Actually, I think just next weekend, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is going to be hitting the theaters for select, and then after we have Ghostbusters, I think coming up.
Yep.
That's this weekend, right?
Is it? That's quick, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Okay.
I was just seeing previews so that it's coming to theaters. It says as of Thursday, which I think is like what the 21st or the 22nd or something like
Yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get a few like right away, and then I know we keep saying how excited we are for The Omen.
Yep.
Um, so excited to check out The Omen. It's been a
Hmm.
while since we've gotten an Omen film. I think the last one was the one with Julia Stiles, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah, there's another movie, Abigail, that's
oh,
coming
and
out.
Abigail from Radio Silence.
That looks decent. I
Yeah,
like the
yep.
way it's set up, good cast and crew. So definitely want to check that out.
That one is opening at Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans, April 3rd, I think. It's like the April 3rd to the 7th.
Okay.
And that's opening up their festival, so that's exciting for them.
Yeah, definitely looks like a great film that's like kind of set up. It kind of reminded me of like a lot of different titles kind of combined, but one
Yeah.
that stuck out to me was like Safe Room. Remember that
Oh,
movie?
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that. You know what I was thinking too? It kind of reminded me, and this is another one of their films, but Ready or Not.
Yeah, no, yeah,
I kind
definitely. That's
I
yeah.
definitely got Ready or Not vibes just from
Hmm.
like running around the building and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it looks like it's gonna be a wild ride. So
Yeah. Also, Late Night with the Devil, like we had talked about before,
yes.
that's gonna be in theaters. When I was at Providence Place Mall, they have the poster art up. It's all on the digital screen saying it's gonna be there. So definitely, if you're in the Rhode Island area, Providence area, go check it out at the Providence Showcase Cinemas and
Yeah.
Providence Place Mall because it's a great film. I definitely want to see it on the big screen. So I think
Yes,
we should
absolutely.
definitely plan on going to see that because it's not going to be in there too long. So usually that's like a week or something, a
Hmm.
week run, if that. So
Some exciting horror news for a film like that. It was trending
mm,
on X earlier today.
okay,
So everybody is talking about Late Night with the Devil, which is so cool. And
yeah,
like we had said in the in our spoiler free review that I hope people check out, they did a lot with like marketing and promoting this. So they did put
yeah,
it in a lot of horror um content creators' hands
yep,
to be able to help promote the film, which is genius, of course. Like if you want
yeah,
horror fans to see your movie because it's made for horror fans, put it into the hands of the people that are kind of like recommending and doing reviews and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. So that was
All
definitely cool.
I didn't think about this when we had talked about it earlier. That is also like a really bold move too, because you are putting it in the hands of the people who also speak super freely
Yeah.
about movies and like their disdain over movies, right? Horror fans love to talk shit. Like, I
Oh.
mean, we're in that boat sometimes too, but like,
Hmm.
there's some really like, vicious ones out there. So to put your movie out there means you have a lot of faith and confidence in how it's gonna
Oh,
be made.
definitely. And so that's the thing. Like even with a lot of people, like we're friends with everybody that talk
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, I've seen a lot of positive posts about it.
Hmm.
So I think that thing, it's like everybody's ready. And so like I said, so it's great that this is going to theaters because it's gonna satisfy everyone that's kind of been let down from the
Yeah.
projects that's been put out from like Blumhouse and stuff. So yeah, definitely don't want to miss this. It's definitely worth checking out. Um, I seen Doug had posted on his page. He actually went to a screening over at the IFC Films Theater in New York, and
Yep.
the cast and crew were there. So that was cool, cool
And I think we had
experience.
talked about this. Was Zero Gravity there too? Or
I don't
was
know if it was the
or
same event. It
oh,
might have been
okay.
the same one.
Yeah. She was
Yeah,
able to screen it somewhere as well in New York. So they're doing a lot of good stuff over there.
yeah, yep. So shout out to everybody, all the content creators out there, horror content creators. Definitely see everybody doing a lot of positive things. That's cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to be a part of this community is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want everybody to remember there's room for everybody. So,
Yeah,
the more stuff that everybody just starts doing together and, connecting about, the better. It just,
yeah,
because I think that's the reason why, brands like Shutter and even IFC Films and,
yep,
Vertigo releasing feel comfortable putting it in these people's hands and our
yep,
hands because they know that we're gonna like work together to promote and get the word out. It's not like
yeah,
we're gatekeeping and like trying to hide this film from other people because like we want to treasure it. It's like no, we want people to check this out. So that's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it was cool too because I had seen the Guts podcast. Those guys had thrown it out there that they had
Yeah.
a screener and everything, and they were able to check it out. And so I think they were satisfied with it too. So that speaks volumes, like you said, for putting it in everybody's hands, and then
Yeah.
being, you know, come back with like great reviews on it. So
Hell yeah.
hey, all right. So let's kick things off, you know. So that was some great a great opening right there. So, but talking about a few upcoming events that we're going to be a part of. We're going to be down over at Deadbeats, where Nowhere Comics is going to present the Black Apple comic release party. That's
Yep.
going to be on March 27th at 8 p.m. So definitely go check it out. That's been a, you know, a fun wild ride because it was just like the idea of us like creating a comic book. You know, we reached out. We have so many ideas, man, like things that we want to do with this platform of PVD horror. And it's just like, you know, I tell Dave all the time, I'm like, dude, like there's no limit to what we can do. And this
Yeah.
just proves it, you know, and then I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody that, you know, supported us and donated to the Kickstarter and believed in our dreams, you know. So
Yep.
definitely come check that out, Black Apple. If you guys want to purchase that, definitely hit us up in our DMs. We'll send out a few copies. So
Yeah.
also at our
And
movie night events.
shout out to Jameson King and Vicky
Yep.
Smalls for putting the Black Apple together. Kind of feeling like our storyline would even be interesting enough to kind of become sort of like the new face of the Black Apple. I would
Yeah.
say, like, it's definitely a very prominent storyline that's going to be happening in multiple volumes of that
Yep.
comic. So
It's so funny because like we always talk about how um we really don't kind of like share this with like a lot of our personal friends or you know
yeah.
coworkers and stuff like that. And then so one of my coworkers actually purchased the comic book and then so it's like it spread it around the hospital like wildfire that
Yeah, yeah.
me and you are like comic book vampire hunters and shit. So and
You're
so it's
wearing a
like
beret in the comic, which
yeah.
is awesome. And I got like a headband on. It's
Yeah, that
really
was the
cool.
thing. Like Jameson, somebody's wearing a beret, and I was like, you know what? I'm always wearing a hat, so throw it on me.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I'll take it because
You
that's
should
the theme.
you should
That's
start wearing a beret.
nah, I'm all set.
Well, dude, just try it once. I bet you don't
Nah,
go back.
nah, I'm all set.
You
Nah,
retire all your hats.
yeah, right.
I do berets now.
Just berets only. Brandon Frog. Yeah, so that was the thing, man. It was just like, you know, when we were coming up with the storyline, we're just like shit, like let's throw in a few movies that we like, you know. So it's like, you know, Lost Boys is a big piece of this comic,
Hmm.
but it's transitions into a lot of our other favorite comics.
Yeah.
So definitely stay tuned. I think volume 3. So because this isn't the
Yeah.
actual
Yeah, well, this is
first
actually
volume.
volume two. We just didn't have our storyline in volume one because that was
Yeah.
before we had linked with them.
Hmm.
But also the cool part of this is the Rhode Island folklore piece, which is and
Yeah.
just Rhode Island like heavy stuff, like which if you're not from Rhode Island, you maybe you won't get the those little things that are snuck in there. But I mean, I don't think it like is make or break.
Yeah.
But Mercy Brown is our prominent like enemy, and Mercy Brown
Yeah.
is like Rhode Island's first witch. So if you read that, or sorry, not witch,
Vampire.
vampire.
Yeah.
So if you go into the books, the history books, you'll read all about Mercy Brown. She was actually like one of the very early, if not the first episode of that podcast Lore, which
Mm.
is a great podcast for people
Okay.
who like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Rhode Island is known for their vampires and the vampire craze that we had.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like just creating the story, it was just like, you know, with us, you know, doing our homework, you know, we would just like want to do it the right way, you know, and
Yeah,
then like even Rocky Point, it's just so it's like so many things that we loved. Like Rocky Point was our big amusement park that had shut down and went out of business years ago with tax issues and stuff like that. And it was known that, you know, Michael Jackson was going to kind of like buy it, but then like that deal fell through.
mm.
So that would have been like the real Neverland Ranch right there, huh?
Imagine Bubbles would have been all over that, swinging from thing to thing. That would have been wild, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
And so now, you know, we focus on that. So it's actually like a big walking park now, you know, where
Yeah,
people can kind of go walk around and stuff like that, get some exercise in. So it's cool because it's over by the water and everything. But just, you know, to reflect on like memories growing up as a kid, like that was the spot to be. So, you know, having an amusement park and like 20 minutes away from your house was big, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now, yeah, I had to walk
And
into it.
when it shut down, I mean, it was like a playground for a lot of people too. Like
Yeah,
being
it
able to
was.
run around in this like, abandoned amusement park. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that too much, but I know a ton of people who did. I'm very envious of that
Yeah.
experience because, today I would have loved to do that.
Yeah, a lot of
Um,
the rides and everything were like kind of like around there still,
yeah, yep.
So
I know people were like going nuts, kind of like just exploring that whole area.
yeah.
Brandon, did you used to eat the clam chowder when you were at
Oh
Rocky
yeah,
Point?
man. The clam chowder, the New York, the Manhattan, the red one. That's my favorite.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Oh,
You know
so
what I mean?
that's like I don't know why, but like my family used to always get the red one when we were there. I don't know if that's
Yep.
like was considered to be like their specialty at Rocky Point, but I'll never forget eating so much of that and then going on rides, and that is not a good recipe at all. And I don't go on like big rides, but even like just little rides, and I
Yeah.
definitely ate so much clam chowder that like I'm pretty turned off from clam chowder now. The red one at least, because it
Yeah.
reminds me of vomiting it up.
Oh
um,
man.
yeah, yeah, that's not the greatest experience.
Yeah, me and my family, we would do the rides first and then later at night we would go,
Yeah,
and
get the
eat. And
chowder.
so yeah, so I remember sitting out there on that back deck, eating and then like the sun's going down and everything like that. So it was cool,
Yeah.
like experiences like that.
Those are
And
core
even
memories that like most Rhode Islanders can share, which is like a special thing for just this area.
yeah, and it's cool too because I actually have like a few coworkers that actually worked there when they were
Oh,
younger, when they
nice.
were teens. So
Yeah.
they was like, yeah, that was my spot. That was the spot to be. So thinking about it just like from the age difference, because they're a little older than me, they're in their like 50. So just to speak on experiences, I was a little kid, you know what I mean? So just the experience there was just like having fun and riding around. So just thinking about being like a teen or a little bit older in that experience in that time was probably like cool. Kind of reminds you of the Lost Boys when they're on the
Yeah.
boardwalk and everything and just
Having
like being that time.
romances and
Yeah,
yeah, I used to go with my older sisters and they would kind of go off and do their own thing. And I can
yeah.
imagine them having those experiences while I was like at my parents' side, like eating chowder.
I'm sure there was like a guy with his shirt off, oiled up with a
Yeah.
saxophone,
Oh, for sure.
playing the saxophone
Yeah.
while you were throwing up,
Yeah, probably.
singing he still believes. Ah, shit. So yeah, definitely check out the Black Apple comic. That is definitely a big piece of myself and Dave's history and things that we love. So definitely stay tuned because
I
that's
got the
going
comics
to
somewhere.
we're gonna have another episode, well, another volume 3. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
So that
also
storyline's actively being worked on now. So
yeah. So thank you again to everybody that supported this project.
yeah.
So
All right. So just to kind of recap where we start with that. So
mhm,
March 27th,
yep.
I think it's a Saturday. That
I'm pretty sure it's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's a Wednesday. All right.
Yeah.
March 27th,
Yep,
8 p.m.
Wednesday.
Deadbeats in Providence. If you guys haven't checked out Deadbeats, you definitely need to.
Yep.
Our buddy Jeff Angel owns that place, and it's a great local hangout.
I actually just ran into his ass today. I didn't even know he like lived next to me.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so me and my wife we were taking a walk and over the school we were passing by the school and I'm sitting there, I'm looking past and I see a little Deadbeats hoodie and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? I'm like, that looks like Jeff, the guy has long hair. I'm like, Jeff. And then he turns around and he's like waving to me, but I didn't think he recognized me. And
Yeah.
so he was sitting there like, he's like, hold on, wait a minute. And then so he goes, oh, it's you guys. What the hell are you doing over here? I'm like, dude, we live right around the corner right here. And he's like, oh, I'm over here with my kids and stuff. He goes, I thought you were my friend Darrell. I mean, no, what the hell? I don't know. I forgot he called me
Yeah.
some shit, but not my name. And so I'm like, fuck you, guy. So it was cool. And we started to talk about deadbeats and talk about, the new bathroom renovation that they had over there.
Oh,
So
nice. Good.
yeah,
Good for
so
them.
yeah,
It's
so
needed.
I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
That's
So
funny
just
that you said that. Last when I ran into him, it was at the Halloween display in Home Depot, which is at the Home Depot like down the road from you though. So it's
okay.
like that makes sense now that he lives over there.
All right.
But I was like, how very fitting that we'd be meeting in the Halloween display
Yeah.
at a place.
He's like, what are you guys doing over here? You're not supposed to be in 100 feet of a school. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, guy. Fucking guy. Yeah, so
uh,
definitely shout out to Jeff from Dead Beats and go support them over at 289 Ninth Street in Providence.
yeah. All right. So Brandon, we got a lot of news we got to cover, I think, for this episode. So do you want to start off with like possibly like the biggest blockbuster news? that we
Yeah,
got so
so
far.
I definitely want to start off with that news because it's been a touchy subject. I remember when it first reported
Yeah.
that, and then we just didn't know how to sit there and kind of like handle it because we've seen a lot of actors and everybody kind of lose a lot of sponsorships or even their jobs, you know. So the first thing is, you know, Scream 7, of course.
Yeah.
So we all know Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are no longer starring in the project. Christopher Landon also is not directing it.
Hmm.
But we just found some new news the other day that you know, Nev Campbell and Kevin Williamson are attached to this project. So how do you feel about that?
Well, it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel, first of all, like happy for the franchise that they get
Yeah.
those returning names that are
Hmm.
like so just embedded in exactly what the franchise is. Um, on the other end, like the more like ethical and moral part, it's like, of course you do. Of course you get this happy ending after you guys kind of like did some business that maybe could have gone a different way. Like they
Yeah.
possibly could have avoided, losing people and making some of the decisions they made. It probably should have gone a different way.
Yeah.
Um, so that part's unfortunate. But if you take like that aspect out, obviously getting Nev back is big. But also she was wronged in the first place. So that's
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
it's kind of sucky. But obviously seeing her return and having Kevin Williamson back is a big thing.
Yeah, and that was the main thing. Like you just said, she was wronged in the first place. So, kind of reflecting back on everything, you know, that was my outlook on it because now I see a lot of comments on a lot of posts saying we stand with Melissa, and that's understandable. It's 100% understandable.
Yeah.
I totally
Yeah.
get it. But, you know, at the same time, I don't see Nev having that same approach to the film because no one backed out when she wasn't getting the
Oh
money that she
yeah,
was supposed to get when
absolutely.
she, you know. So I think Nev in this point, I think she understands and gets what happened, but you know, nobody backed out the project when they weren't giving her the money she
Yeah.
deserved. And my outlook on it is Jenna Ortega and Melissa, they're young in the game right now. Melissa's attached to Annabelle, what is it? That project that we were just talking about,
Abigail.
Abigail. She's one of the main character. You know, so I think that her
Yeah.
career will be, you know, well off and do a little bit better. And we already know Jenna Ortega's attached to everything.
Literally
And
everything.
I think right now it sucks, but you know what I mean? This is what Nev has is Scream. I don't think that she's
And
actively
she
doing
doesn't
much.
owe anyone
No,
anything
yeah.
in the franchise. She was wronged. She was probably, I'm assuming, made an offer she was
Yeah,
not going to turn down, and
exactly.
that's good for her. Get paid, do what you need to do.
Hmm.
You should have been treated differently before. I guess it just kind of reflects like it's unfortunate that the people that like made the decisions that were made that wronged, Nev in the
Yeah.
first place, Melissa
Hmm.
following that, seem to keep coming out on top because people are still going to go see the film. No matter how they feel, this movie is going to still bring in a ton of money. I don't foresee people not watching it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you have Mason Gooding, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son, you know, the star of the last two films.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's still alive,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I was gonna say should be dead, but
yeah,
he's there.
but he had made a comment on it. I guess they had asked him like, "What do you think?" Like before like this whole situation that happened with Nev and
Yeah,
everybody signing on. They had asked him saying like, "Do you think this project's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" And he had made a comment saying, "If it could make money, I guarantee you they'll make it." You know,
yeah.
so I think that it's another two, the other two, him and the sister that was attached to this film. They need this. You know, I mean, those two.
Yeah, this is good for their careers
Yeah,
for
they need
sure.
this because,
Yeah,
you know, the other sister, she was in Yellow Jackets, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And so and he's still an up and coming actor. So it's like you can't just pull away like how Jenna did, you know, or anybody else that didn't want to be a part of this project because of
yeah,
Melissa's situation. Like these guys still got to put food on their table and try to get as much, you know, publicity and everything for their careers. So you can't sit there and say, hey, you know, we stand with Melissa all the time on
right.
top of these guys for a decision that they're making to continue to go forward because everybody completely understands it's a fucked up situation.
Yeah,
But
they got it. They have to do what they have to do for their careers.
yeah,
Like,
yep,
and this is, I don't know if this is going to get a lot of hate, but before people get too high and mighty about people's decisions, just
Hmm.
remember if it was up to the horror community
Yeah.
after Scream 5, Melissa
Yeah.
would have already been gone.
Oh yeah, we already
She
talked
got
about that last
so much
time too.
hate after Scream 5.
Yeah.
Nobody was really happy with the performance. She did amazing in Scream 6 and then became
Hmm.
everybody's fan favorite after that, I think. And great. That's like it shows a lot of growth on Melissa's end and the like just also shows like she responded to it feels like she responded to some of the criticisms and like kind of worked on whatever that was lacking in Scream 5.
Yeah.
But like people were pretty rough.
Yeah, they
And
definitely were.
you know, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, before we get too high and mighty, just remember, there's a lot of things that have been said in the past that like
Yeah,
if we
they're
had
acting.
actually had some poll decisions would have already have been made. So
Yeah.
under the conditions they were made, I think that's what and like for the reasons, I think that's what kind of puts a weird twist on this. It's like taking stuff that is not about film and making it like the
Yeah.
reason that is kind of
100%.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, definitely hey, I'm all in for Scream 7. You know what I mean? It's a big part of our life growing up,
Yep.
that franchise means a lot to us. Just like, it's in that realm of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on
Yep.
Elm Street now because I remember when the first Scream came out in 97, you know what I mean? I remember
Hmm.
being like uh elementary school, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's
Well,
that's what it comes down to,
the amount of Ghostface like bumper stickers and
Yeah.
shirts and stuff I see today is insane. Like people
Hmm.
love Ghostface. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna taper my expectations for Scream 7 because, we will see how it comes out, but obviously we're gonna go see it. So
Oh yeah, I can see some like Scream 4 type shit again. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that style.
Yep.
Because it like I said, Melissa and Jenna's characters in this franchise kind of went off in the sunset in this last film, where it kind of makes
Mhm.
sense. It's like it's okay, like they can walk away now. They put the mask down on the ground and kind of just walked off. Like, you
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like they can kind of like easily kind of be taken out of
So I think we already know who the killers are gonna be.
the twins.
Yeah, we
It's
thought it
like
I mean, literally thought it the last film.
yeah, it's
So
like the way that they continue to survive or something like that. They can wrap
yeah,
some story around this
yeah.
shit, like where it's
Where
just like
they're resentful that the Melissa and
yeah,
Jenna
like
could just walk away and they're stuck in this or
in this
whatever, something.
town, and
Yeah,
like our family has been nothing but helpful, and we always get the shit end of the stick. Like we're
exactly.
always getting put down. We're almost died a few times. Look at our Uncle Randy. This
Yeah.
is gonna be a fucking
Yeah,
shit show.
they're gonna do some stuff. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, like Nev, this is all your fault. This town's never been the same because of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And you have some black killers in Scream finally, because that's what they were supposed to do in part two.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, you got that route, or somehow Nev ends up being the killer at the end. So I mean,
yeah,
who
yeah.
knows?
Either
So,
way, but
so many
yeah,
things.
yeah, it has to be a
I
big
mean, we're
part for
already
her to
making
come back.
predictions. This movie's not even like it's not even
I'm just gonna
scripted
write
yet.
it. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
fucking
just
write
do
it.
it. Just do it. Send it to Kevin.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's Scream 7 news. We're gonna move on a little bit. This is actually big, big news right here. And then we got a lot of hate because we didn't go check this film out in the theater and we missed it. But
Yep.
shout out to Godzilla minus one. It has captured the Academy Award for the best visual effects, and this is the first Godzilla movie to win an Academy Award. Period. Like, you know what I mean? That's big, big, news. Dave,
Yep.
have you even checked this film out yet? Yeah.
Did not get to it.
See, that's the thing too. I've been trying to look for it on streaming and everything. You
Not.
couldn't find it. I was waiting for it to go back into the theater when it was going to release it in black and white. It wasn't playing down this way in black and
No.
white.
I
And I was like,
blame
fuck,
I blame cinema for me not seeing.
cinema. I blame cinema. Don't blame the movies, buddy. You watch too much
I
fucking
blame
Scream. We're
I
talking about Scream.
blame the Godzilla franchise and Nev Campbell.
You know, let's put it this way. I don't think Godzilla was playing in too many movie theaters, and so the time slots weren't
Yes.
available to us. Our
It was
schedule, I work
it was
overnights.
it was playing next door when I was watching Thanksgiving,
Oh, was it?
but I had to see Thanksgiving, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't get it.
It
But
is
it is
what it
taking
is.
forever to get to streaming. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like,
we
damn.
can hurry that up. Thanksgiving's already in streaming. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's already being popped up like Godzilla and King Kong already. Like the posters everywhere.
Yeah.
He's gonna be back in theaters this time. They're friends. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
going against so
Yeah, that
much shit. It's
trailer
like,
looks bonkers.
yeah. So I think we're gonna have to go check that out. But it's like
Absolutely.
it sucks because it's like this is like the more commercialized Godzilla movies.
I know, I
Like
know.
this is
And we
this is
missed
the
the
one that we
actual,
probably would really enjoy more than these
yes.
other ones. So
Yeah, the last few Godzilla films, I'm not gonna lie, like I love the effects. I love seeing Godzilla, but like I
hmm
just think it always looks so impressive. Even the King Kong movies, but like
yeah,
I in the Godzilla movies especially, I just get so like bored with like the human stories. I wish it
yeah,
was just more visual time of Godzilla.
yep,
The last one especially, it just felt like it was the King of the Monsters.
yep.
Um, I just felt like there's way too much storyline with the people. So I want to see just
Yeah,
monsters.
I feel you. I feel you. But yeah, that's shout out to
We'll get
everyone
to
that
it.
was on board on that project because that's big for horror. You know what I mean? Or just
Yeah.
even just, sci-fi, horror,
So
whatever you want to put it in.
a couple years ago, I think it was, we had Parasite,
Yep.
win an award. Now we got Godzilla. We're making marks in the genre,
Yep.
in the Oscars. So, good for horror.
Yeah, a lot of people are starting to open their eyes because they see so many actors want to be a part of horror now, because it's
Yes.
just going to a different place, you know.
Yes. Yep. All right.
We got some
So,
big headlines right here. I think that you should probably take this away
all
because these
right.
two
S-
are on you.
Samara Weaving wants to fight Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street installment.
Yeah. Over at South by Southwest. She had an interview on the red carpet, and they had asked her about that and said, what film franchise would you love to be a part of? And she said Nightmare on Elm Street.
Meanwhile, Robert Englund is pretty clear, I think, that
Yeah,
he
he's
is not interested in
yep.
reprising Freddy Krueger. So it would have to be a faux Freddy. And
hmm
I don't know. I don't know. We've
Yeah.
talked about it a lot over the years. I'm just kind of like, just leave it. I like the ones that were already made, minus the reboot, but even that I've watched a couple of times.
hmm
Um, I don't really feel like they need to, but if they're going to, at least they better make some good casting choices for Freddy.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's hard. It's like who do you have to fill those shoes? This isn't like a Friday the 13th where you can just slap a mask on someone. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is a whole different thing where it's like
And
Freddy's talking.
you really probably have to like revamp the whole like idea of what Freddy's like, because Robert Englund kind of like created this character who was both funny and terrifying and just really captured that role, and now everyone kind of expects it to be that way. And then when they did the reboot and he wasn't funny at all, people were like, I hate that.
Yeah.
It was, and then they didn't like he was trying to be Freddy but without actually being Freddy. So I think they have to just go a whole different route, because people are constantly sitting there comparing, I don't think they're ever going to be happy, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a Jason where you just walk into a costume and people are just judging how
Yeah,
you're walking. Um,
exactly.
so I think they're gonna have to come up with some way to kind of like re-envision him.
Yeah. So I don't
We'll
know.
we'll see
There's a
what
lot of
happens.
cool ideas that we have talked about with a lot of other people behind closed doors or
Yeah,
just on social media about going that route, trying to figure things out how to sit there and become Freddy. So it's like
yeah,
it has to be in the right hands. Just like we talked about a lot of these films that have released, sometimes they're just not in the right hands. You got to be like really creative. You have to have a passion for this project. You have to be a big fan. This isn't going to be a money grab. This has to be something like Nightmare on Elm Street that had changed your life. Freddy Krueger had played a big role on your, years of,
yeah,
living, you know what I mean?
hmm,
Because this isn't just for anyone.
yeah,
So I feel as though that whoever takes onto this project needs to go in with that mindset because it's like if you don't, then you're just gonna fall, just like this last film,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
that and
I
that's the
mean,
same
I
way.
think they're 10 years too late. I feel like they should have gotten like a Johnny Depp 10 years ago. But
Yeah, that'd have been cool having someone that was a part of the franchise from the beginning
Yes,
do
and
something.
he's like probably one of the most like versatile actors. Like if you think about all the different roles and how odd he can play, and then he can play completely normal. I mean, he can do a lot. So I don't know.
Ima Imagine Jim Carrey as Freddy Krueger or some shit. Just someone that's just so animated. You're
Yeah,
gonna have someone that's animated
like a
that just
David Howard Thornton, Jim Carrey.
I love David, but I don't see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get
No,
me
and
wrong.
I don't think that would be a good thing for him to
Yeah.
even go into a role like
Yeah,
that because
because he would get so much hate and then because like
yeah,
he's already in Terrifier, let him live with Art the Clown, but yeah,
Jim
I don't want
Carrey playing Fire Marshal Bill as Freddy Krueger.
let me tell you something. You're
There
dreaming,
we go.
buddy. You're dead. Just some shit, just some random shit.
That's it right there. No, that's
Just
it.
some random shit. You're gonna have someone. And I don't know. And we talked about that before with a lot of people. Like, I truly don't know who can fill those shoes because it's like you see when Robert Englund had the documentary out and how he just has the mindset of going
Yeah.
into like films and just doing things like having that theater background and just taking over the role. You have to have like a hard worker do something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So in other well, this isn't real that wasn't really a remake, but they're talking about it. But in actual remake news, we got a little information involving Barbara Crampton. You
Yep.
wanna you want to announce that one?
That's you, man. That's all you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's you.
So Crampton's company, which she is like co-executor, I believe, or something like that, has discussed. They've acquired the rights for Tourist Trap, and now they're
Mm.
discussing her producing a reboot of Tourist Trap. Um, it's so crazy because like never had thought about that. Like whenever people bring up movies that like, oh, would you like to see remade? Never really
Yep.
thought about it, but kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's an older film that's, could use it would be interesting to see like some newer ideas brought to it and just kind of like maybe modernizing it, I guess. Seeing I think it could work in modern day. But it's also a really good film, so it's going to bring some light to that film in general.
I don't know. I don't know how it would truly work out because it's like unless they're gonna continue to do it like with the practical effects like they did in the original, like dealing with the budget that they had. I don't want to see a lot of CGI fucking
Yes.
doors slamming and
Agreed.
fucking
And the mouths moving on like the mannequins and stuff
yeah.
like that or whatever.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
sure
want to see that.
Barbara will completely understand that. And I don't think that she'll take that approach in this film because I don't think that she would put herself in a position to remake a film and just shit on a classic film that many people love. I
And
don't think she would want to hurt your feelings, Dave.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And she's been in so many movies that border that like
Yeah.
horror but campy, like campy horror. So like I feel like she has some good experience in her like film catalog that like she kind of would get it. And even if you think about her latest film, Suitable Flesh, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like the last film she's done, but like
Hmm.
Suitable Flesh is like the more recent, like bigger name film. Great effects in that, great
No,
gore.
definitely.
So if she, I feel like she picks roles that are usually would be kind of in line with what this could be and should be.
Yeah,
Uh,
she pays so much homage to everything that she's done. You know what I mean? Like
yep,
even she's gonna be the downloadable character for the DLC of
yeah,
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
yeah,
game. And just hearing her talk about that, saying like, like I'm so honored to be a part of this game. You know what I mean? Because this was one of the first movies that actually scared the shit out of me. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like growing up. So just hearing her speak and then like even like on her on Instagram, you know what I mean? And then just her life and then like her live stories and shit like that. It's just like she's just so committed to this, genre, you know what I mean? And then I feel as though that's the person you give the keys
Absolutely.
to have this project done.
I
So,
was just gonna say the same thing. I've really like fallen in love with like her as a person, like
yeah.
outside of her roles. Like she is awesome. Like she's always on social media and she
Hmm.
like is candid. She talks a lot. Like she makes, she puts up videos of her like talking about topics, and she's aged so well. Like she looks beautiful still, and she's
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know, man. She's
I
great.
feel you. I feel you when you said you've fallen in love with her. It did not just because of just the looks and in the movies that she's done in the past, but it's kind of like, when you go on a date and you meet a girl and you're like, oh man, that girl's cute. And then but when you get to know her, you're like, oh shit, like
Yeah, yeah.
that's I like this more. Like that like you know what I mean? You don't always go for looks and shit. It's about more the
It's a
person. And that's
and
how for
she's
me.
got it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's
really
all
has. She's all
Dave's like, she's
that.
all that in a bag of chips. Oh, talk about that, all that. That's the new Rhode Island slogan, isn't it? Like all that.
Yes, yes.
That's fucking
Unfortunately,
stupid.
all that. I
Barbara
mean, we
Crampton?
have the best. We have like the ocean state. Like, what else
Yeah.
do we need for a freaking tagline? What does all that even mean? What does
I
it
don't
even
know.
mean?
I just think about the TV show.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's gonna think of. Like, who decided that, and were they not aware of that TV show?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's what they probably did. They probably got a little starstruck with,
Oh, because we
Keenan
had
and Kel coming
Keaton and
back
Kel
here,
here.
fucking filming Good Burger 2. And they're
Wow,
like, oh,
wow.
all that. Rhode Island is all that.
Yeah,
Come on, come back and film again. The next film, man, like I know this film had played a big piece on, my upbringing and watching horror. Salem's Lot. The remake is coming back. Just that fucking window scene when the kid's floating up in the air and shit like that, the window, that definitely fucked me up. What about you? How'd that film affect you?
I didn't watch this till like way later.
Yeah.
I think I watched it probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, I think I told you, I was like, it didn't really have hit me the way that I thought it was based on the way everyone talks about the film. But like,
Yeah.
granted, I think it is different watching it as an adult, and it is kind of dated. It's a little boring at
It
parts.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back and trying to watch it, but I don't know. I don't know if I shared this story before, but I think I did probably like couple like seasons ago. But just watching this film, I had watched it at a sleepover, and it was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, and the movie made itself onto the TV. I think it just popped on. It was like we were watching like movies, and then I think it just came on, and so I remember watching it, and definitely a big slow burn. But so everybody was sleeping, and I'm just like sitting there. So I'm like, there's a whole bunch of my friends. Well, like there's a good like 10 of us because it was like a birthday party
Yeah.
sleepover. Everybody's sleeping, and I'm up. And then I just remember like just the glowing from the scene from that visual, like the whole room was like all the lights were off, but the
Yeah.
the room was just like blue, like from that
You're
scene.
in
And
like
I'm just
Skinamarink almost.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling you, like Skinamarink hits different from me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's why I kind of enjoy that movie. It gets a lot of hate. But yeah, just watching that scene and I'm just kind of like, oh shit. And I'm like, and you're just trying to like go back to sleep and you can't, and it's just like
Yeah.
fuck, like you
Yeah.
got everybody around you. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm just like, yeah, but
Did you know they were remaking it?
yeah, they've been talking about that for a while. So it's been kind of being thrown around. Like it's been held back. I've seen a lot of visual art posters that a lot of people been making,
Yeah.
like, and so it's been having a big problem getting off the ground. But now we've gotten some news that, it was supposed to go to theaters, but now it's
Yep.
being pushed straight to
Streaming.
HBO
Max.
Max.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know why they went with that approach, but I know that Stephen King had put, that he's seen the film. He said it's quite good, old school horror filmmaking, slow build, big payoff. He said he's not sure why the Warner Brothers is holding it back. It's not like it's embarrassing or anything, but he put out there saying, "Who knows? I just write the fucking thing." So I think all the time, I think it's good when you have the creator of like the author or anybody that wrote the book give good feedback on it because sometimes some people can
Yeah.
say that's complete dog shit.
Well,
And
especially when it seems genuine, like
yeah,
he's not endorsing the film. He's not like part
no,
of like
yeah,
the promotion team here. There's been other films where it felt like he was maybe part of the promotional package
yeah,
for the film.
yep,
I think maybe that newer Pet Cemetery, if I remember correctly, he was like involved when they were promoting it, and then like obviously that wasn't received the way people hoped. But I mean that's not what's happening here. He's just actually speaking on his experience with the film, and that like he feels like maybe it should get a bigger release. So
yeah. Yeah,
It's, I mean, this is today's like dilemma. Like, should you go to, do you go straight to streaming? Do you go to theaters? Like, I think when when there's like a concern over how the film's going to be received or if it's going to have that impact in the box office, this is probably the question everybody's got to ask nowadays, right? I don't know
yeah,
how else they move forward if they're questioning whether it's going to be a flop in the box office.
yeah.
I
And so
wonder if
that's
that's what it is. I don't know.
I don't know, because it's been sitting around for a while. I think this project's been completed for a while because we had, a lot of people that we talked to behind the scenes about it that, kind of were, involved in the project or had known someone that was involved in the
Hmm.
project and it was supposed to take off. And so I don't know. I think that it's a good thing, because a lot of Stephen King fans, they love to see the film adaptations getting done. And so, um, I think this is definitely something that could be remade and put into a better light because, like you said, going back and trying to watch this, it's really, really slow and boring. I
Yeah.
think kind of giving it that new speed of today would kind of help it out, so who
And
knows?
like there's that whole King universe. So like Salem's Lot connects to other stories, like we saw
Yeah,
in Castle Rock season two. I think they actually have the house from Salem's Lot, which is where Annie Wilkes like hides out in the end, if I remember
yeah,
correctly, or there's some kind of tie into Salem's Lot in there. So like it would be cool to start seeing them utilize that King's universe again with these films and really starting to like, I don't know. We have like the Marvel universe, so
yeah,
why not really capitalize on this? Because I love the King's universe. I love how things connect in King's films because it's not like huge connections. It's like subtle, but they're there, and it like you love seeing like those Easter eggs. Um,
yeah.
you know,
And you can tell like all his shit like inspires like other people that create projects because you look at it like look at like Fright Night that took like a big piece of Salem's Lot like what like how in Fright Night how just watching like the next door neighbor move in and have someone kind of bring in the vampire and stuff like that and just
hmm.
building that Salem's Lot like that's a big piece of that film where like a lot of shit's going on in town. You just have a shady person that's kind of going back and forth, and then the two guys, you know, bringing in the crate at night and not knowing what the hell it is and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, man, it's definitely a piece that I would like to see remade because I think that it like you said, there's points that were missed, but there's there's pieces in that film that definitely hit the right way, but
yeah.
a lot of it doesn't.
So,
So
so they would be doing it for the right reasons in this
yeah,
case, it kind of making it more modernized, but also like making it more watchable for today's audience because we are
yeah.
always like people want more instant gratification, like a little faster pace.
Yep.
So yeah.
I'm all in for it. So yeah, man, like this episode, it just seems like we're just talking about a lot of remakes or some new sequels coming to
I
light.
really didn't realize how many of these until like we've laid them out here because people have
We're
kind of
still,
been noting that on our social media as we're making
uh,
posts. And I'm like, it didn't really dawn on me, but yeah, there are a ton.
yeah, we're still going, and then we have a big list still going
Yeah.
right here. So it's like the next one we're gonna get into it. Another fan favorite, I Know What You Did Last Summer, is gonna get another sequel from Jennifer Robertson.
Yep.
Uh, and it's gonna have a new twist on it, like with a social media, new age type film. I think that that's gonna be it's gonna play a big part for like the kids today. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I heard that Jennifer Love Hewitt has had made some comments that suggest maybe she could be tied into the project,
Yeah,
but it hasn't been totally confirmed yet.
yeah.
So that's very interesting too.
And also, I think even Freddie Prinze Jr., I know he was saying something about it too before because he has his own horror podcast now
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So, I think he was talking about that before. Like he would like to see something done. And I think that, the true fans of I Know What You Did Last Summer deserve like a better sequel than the third one because the third one, I don't know what the hell that was. I think that was a cash grab
Yeah.
all the way. I don't even fucking remember any
That's
of it.
like the third Urban Legends or whatever,
Yeah,
It's
it was
like,
just
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't needed, but I think the second film, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, was a it was good, you know what I mean? But it had his like pieces that were just like,
Hmm.
what's this? Like with Jack Black, we always joke on that, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yep.
So
Yeah, there was some interest. That was the one with Brandy, right? That was the
yeah.
second one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Jack Black, right? Jack Black was in there, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, with
with the
like
dreads.
dreadlocks. Rastafari and Jack
Kung
Black.
Fu Panda coming back again for another episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, I mean, I'm definitely interested in it. I mean, we did just have the show,
yeah.
which I was telling myself I was going to try and watch, and I just never ended up watching it because I looked at it and I was like, this looks like a teen drama. So I don't know if I
But I
don't know
think
if
that's
it's
the
for
thing.
me.
But that's the thing that we always get. I think I watched the first episode of that and I just kind of lost me. But it's the same situation with Scream. It lost me too. But then we always, when we have guests on, they always
Yeah,
say,
they're
"You
like, you
guys
gotta
didn't
watch
watch
it.
this? You guys didn't watch it? Keep watching it." And I'm like, then I feel like I'm crazy. But then I'm
Yeah,
like, all
like
right, we gotta go back and watch it. But I
maybe I
still
will.
can't get into the shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll wait for the sequel. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see if they end up doing this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's like I can't commit to like fucking 10 episodes, an hour each, just to be let down. I'd rather be just let down
Uh-huh.
in a good hour and a
It
half.
it has to really catch me in order for me to be able to watch something right now like that.
Nah.
So yeah.
All right. So we're coming fresh off of St. Patrick's Day. We just did a big Leprechaun event over at Buttonwoods. We had, you know, raised money for the Walk MS of Rhode Island. It was a good time. We showed Leprechaun in the Hood, you know.
Yeah, people loved it.
They had a good time. They had a good time. We had a good Warwick Davis beer. You enjoyed that?
Yes, yep, yep. It was half Irish stout, half barley wine. Very strong and very smooth.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that was smooth.
Yeah.
Like JB Smooth. Fucking yeah, it was a good time out. But we had a guest before on our podcast who portrayed the leprechaun. Land
Lyndon Porco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lyndon Porco. And so there's been news that we're gonna get a new Leprechaun. So it's gonna be the ninth installment. Lionsgate recently hired director Felipe Vargas to take the helm of this project.
Okay.
So I kind of
With
like his
with
approach.
Lin with Lyndon
I'm
back?
not I'm not sure if it's
Oh,
Lyndon.
okay.
So I know I'm not sure.
We'll have to
But
like
they keep showing pictures of Lyndon's Leprechaun though.
okay.
So who knows? But from what he said, he made a statement that said, I would love for it to be scary as hell and also hilarious. I think we're gonna go back to a lot of the roots of Leprechaun. So
All right.
like he's a
This
big
is all
fan.
new to me. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah. So I knew you would be happy about
I
that. You're a
am.
big
I
Leprechaun
was
fan.
I was watching Leprechaun 1 last night. Obviously we watched Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yep.
But also I say it every time we talk about the Leprechaun movies. I really, really like Leprechaun Returns, the one that had Lyndon Porco as
Yeah.
the Leprechaun. I thought he did a great job, but I also just thought it was a well put together Leprechaun film, like had everything you wanted.
Yeah. And then also meeting and talking with Lyndon, it was just like, wow, like this is a cool experience. And then like just talking about, his history and everything, kind of
Yeah.
going back of stuff. So if you haven't listened to that episode of the podcast, go check that out. I think that's
That
in
was a
season
throwback.
three,
Yeah.
season three. Yeah. Season two or season three. It
I
was a,
think
it
it's
was a good,
two. I think it's
yeah,
two.
it was a good time. Good conversation with Landon.
Yeah, he's a good
Um,
guy.
yeah, so if he's back again, that'll be cool because there was a lot of things that stood out to me. Like you just said, you love that sequel. There was the thing that stuck out to me because it was a sci-fi film. So,
Yes. Yeah.
went straight to sci-fi and then we talked about it like even Slumber Party Massacre was a sci-fi film that year and those films hit. They did decent. They
Yeah.
weren't bad. Like I was
For a
shocked
sci-fi
because
film, yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
shocked. So, because they usually don't hit that way for sci-fi.
Um, Lyndon is actually, I don't know, I don't think it's happened yet, but I was seeing he was actually going to make a convention appearance.
Okay.
I want to say it's Monster Expo's one in New Hampshire that they're
Okay.
doing, which that is that the halfway to Halloween one, I
Yeah, halfway
think.
to Halloween. Yep.
I want to say I saw Lyndon as one of the guests for that. So that's really cool if he starts to do some guest appearances. And maybe we can talk him into coming down to Rhode Island. So
That'd be
um,
cool.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, there was a the part in that film that always stuck out to me with the hammer when he said it's hammer time.
Hammer time. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, it made me laugh. It made me chuckle. So
Yeah. That and
shout out.
that's what you gotta love about the Leprechaun films. They don't take themselves seriously.
No.
They're just ridiculous. Watching Leprechaun 1, I was like, wow, I kind of forgot how silly this movie is.
Yeah.
But like some people actually would say they thought it was scary. I'm like, meanwhile, he's on a skateboard in one scene. Like,
Dude, I remember watching that movie. One of my cousins, she was younger. Like, she went home, complained to her mother, and her mom called and goes, "You guys better stop watching those scary movies with
oh
my
my God.
daughter around because she can't even sleep and that damn leprechaun." So we used to always just burn her about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're scared of the fucking leprechaun? Like, seriously? Out of all the fucking movies we watch and stuff, and you can't sleep because of that fuckhead? I'm
It's
like,
so ridiculous. I love that like it always stuck out to me that your kids love Leprechaun.
yeah, my kids
'Cause-
love it.
And I'll never forget we went to the convention and they both had their Leprechaun shirts on. I was like, nice. And some representation here. 'Cause
Yeah.
not enough people have Leprechaun shirts.
Nah,
Oh,
yeah.
so speaking of that, when we did Leprechaun Back in the Hood, our buddy Jeff Dakota, who
Yep.
we had on the podcast talking about Deadly Endings, that film that he's doing the Indiegogo campaign for, he came
Hmm.
wearing his Leprechaun in the Hood,
Yep.
custom made shirt.
Oh, that's
That
dope.
was custom
Oh,
made.
was it?
Yeah, he has one for Leprechaun. He goes in, if you guys would have done Leprechaun in Space, I got one for that too.
Yeah,
So he's a huge Leprechaun fan. And
that's
it was
cool.
cool that he took the drive because it was quite a drive. He drove from like New Hampshire down to come to our event.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's big.
yeah, and he was able to tell everyone about the Indiegogo campaign for Deadly Endings. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, definitely go check out Deadly Endings on Indiegogo. And you should contribute because there's a ton of cool perks. And he's looking to get people into the film. You can actually get killed in this film. So
Yeah.
definitely go check that out.
Yep. And also shout out to our boy D'Lo Draws. He dropped off some cool Leprechaun pins for the
The
raffle.
booby pins.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, I won one of these." We had four of them, so we had four winners that won some
Yeah.
booby pins of the Leprechaun. So, yeah, man,
Was that
appreciate D'Lo.
from that's from the original, right? He's capturing that the fan scene from the
Yeah,
original and the kid, yeah, is
yeah. So,
hallucinating seeing a naked woman. Yeah.
yeah, so. Shout out to D'Lo and shout out to Buttonwoods Brewery for, donating gift cards, some sweaters, some swag.
Yeah.
And I also put together, some cool fucking horror movie pack gift
Yeah.
packs, what I mean, movie night packs for people to go home and watch and represent it. We had VHS 85,
Yeah.
uh
Suitable flesh.
Suitable Flesh, and Puppet Man. So shout out, we had everybody on our podcast that came to promote those films. So it was cool. We had a little Shutter at home night for, some people
Yes.
that might not have the streaming service. So they were very happy to go home and
Yes.
watch those films and
Some
have
great prizes.
some local Nettie's Kettle popcorn. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a great time.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. The Leprechaun event's always a good time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. So next, like I said, man, the list is gonna keep
There's
rolling
another one I didn't know about. So
with
you got to
fucking
tell me about
remakes and
this.
shit.
Yeah.
So it's like Ghoulies. So there was news that the original
Oh, I did hear
creators,
about this. Yeah.
yeah, original creators are planning a new trilogy for the new generation of Ghoulies. Ghoulies definitely played a big part on me because just the wacky fucking movie it is, and then it's like even the cover art for it, seeing the motherfucker hanging out of a toilet, you know what I mean, always played a big part for me.
Yeah.
And then so that franchise right there, that trilogy was really cool. So I'm not sure how it's gonna hit today though. I'm not sure.
That that's a great question. It depends on what route they go. Like I feel like they could go straight like bonkers off the wall,
Yeah,
and people will probably like that. It could go like full moon direction, which there's a audience there for that would love that kind of stuff. Like
yeah.
just something like it's one of those movies I don't feel like they have to go like too big in order
No,
to
not
make
at
it.
all.
It's got to not really take itself too seriously.
Yeah,
Um,
because the original creators are tied to this, so it's like I
yeah,
I feel as though they understand. So
yeah. Is Ghoulies on? full moon or no? Or is that not a full moon? That's
So
Hobgoblins. That's on full moon, right?
yeah, so Ghoulies was under the other imprint before he had moved the full moon.
Oh,
So
okay. Gotcha.
yep. So
Gotcha.
Charles Band was a part of that. So I don't know. I think that I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't see his name tied to this, but I'm sure he was a part of everything. So who knows? So we could
Yeah.
probably see this on full moon.
So, Brandon, I wanted to share something with you that I thought you'd find interesting. And we can make whatever conclusions to it that we want to. So we had
Yep.
Brian Usna on,
Yep.
and we talked to him a little bit about Charles Band.
Yep.
And he had some interesting things to say. He had some quick first initial responses that were a little off the cuff and I think caught us off guard. But then he had some kind of like, well, I also respect some of the things that he's created, or he kind of like made it seem like, but I also kind of understand he's a businessman and like he's
Yeah.
made some films that have kind of been important in the genre.
Hmm.
But then a week or two later, I saw a post for I think I can't remember which convention it is. Charles Band and Brian Usna are going to be at the convention together.
Oh shit.
Maybe that conversation, I'm just saying, maybe that conversation made them both reflect on their time and they're now best friends again.
Nah, I think there was like, yeah, yeah. Charles was like, yeah, put me on that lineup too. I got some words to say to that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You,
It's like a full moon heavy lineup, and then Brian Usna. He was like one of the last ones, and I was like, oh shit, Brian
yeah,
Usna's gonna go.
bring
So
him on over. Got some shit to iron out with him.
that will be really interesting. But you know what? If they are on good terms at this point, then good for them. I'm glad for
Maybe,
that.
maybe that's the thing in life, you know what I mean? When you go through like bad business deals with people and shit like that, it's just sometimes you just gotta get past it and keep going because
Have
you
some time to
can't
reflect.
yeah, you can't let your business fucking fall because of old shit. So
And, in the end, like where they both are now, I don't think either of them benefit
yeah,
from harboring anything because it
yeah.
it adds no benefit to either of their lives.
And
So
it was cool to have them both on the podcast because
yeah,
they both definitely played a big part in our life. So it was cool to be able to kind of like talk to both of those guys. They're both creative. Um, you know, fucking Honey, I Shrunk the Kids has been on my fucking TV for the last few fucking days now. My daughter's been watching it. So it's cool, you know what I mean? Going back and forth and like just
I have
just
a
doing that.
I have a picture of when I went to Universal Studios when I was a kid with my grandparents,
Yep.
and I got selected. They had a Honey I Shrunk the Kids like exhibit, or I don't even know what it was. It was like a they had like a giant bee, and I got picked out of everyone and
Okay.
was around, and I got to like go on the bee, and then like they filmed it, and then you see like it makes it look like it's real. That was
Yeah,
pretty wild.
I think my cousin did that. I think we had an old VHS of that. So yeah, that
I
was
got to
cool.
look up what that was even all about, but I remember going on there and being like so freaking nervous because
Yeah.
I got picked out of everyone. I was just like, oh my god, but
Yeah, I
very
was I
cool.
was younger at the time with that. So but I was there, but I wasn't able to go on.
Yeah.
Forgot how old I was, but yeah, my cousins are a little bit older than me, but I
Oh,
remember that
so
whole
you went to
experience.
Universal as a kid too?
Yeah, I went,
Do you
but I
remember
was I was
Remember
little.
the Bates Motel was there too?
I remember that like as going back and looking at pictures and stuff, but like
Yeah.
when I had gone, like no, like I was still little. I was probably around
I
like
have a
fucking 4 or something.
I have a picture still of it. It's been torn down since, but that was cool at the time.
Nah.
So again, another reboot news here,
Hmm.
and I think you're gonna share in this excitement.
Yep.
Street Trash, the reboot of Street Trash. The poster was dropped. Ryan Kruger is attached to this, and people might remember that name from Fried Berry, which kind of
Yeah.
really surprised people or kind of snuck out of nowhere, and people really love that film. So, Street Trash, what do you think?
I think if it's done the right way, because like even it's become a cult classic. Like you know what I mean? It's like something that like over the years we've all been talking about. We've been rewatching. Like
Yeah.
um, it always sticks out because it's like little scenes. It's like it doesn't take itself serious. Like we
Yeah.
always said,
Yep.
it's cool. And so having the Viper and stuff, you made that bottle a few
Yeah.
times and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And just the scenes. But we talk about it today because I remember we had talked about maybe showing it as a movie night, and I think someone had left like somebody said something about really you guys are gonna show that film today with all this stuff that's going on in the world, like with the rape and everything. So it's like
Yeah,
how do you? It's like the
there is
same
a lot
situation,
of stuff
same
that
situation with with a lot of other films that are being remade. Like
I'm
how do
not
you
gonna
remake
lie
this
though.
today?
I had that same thought as we were watching Leprechaun Back in the Hood. He's got,
Yeah,
there's some things that are kind of offensive in today's culture, but it's
yeah.
like,
But
we
everybody
didn't
had a
make the
good
film.
Yeah, but everybody had a good time, and so it was like
Yeah.
even like the audience that the film could offend was sitting there laughing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They had a
yeah.
good
I think
time. So
if a movie doesn't take itself seriously and it's not trying to make a political
yeah,
statement, or it's actually like the scene is trying to reflect kind of the opposite of what it's showing, I think that's which I think is the point of Street Trash.
yeah,
Not to like bring it to like some elevated horror level, but I do think it's kind of, you know, kind of saying something about society.
yeah.
So, yeah, this one, what's the tagline? Melt the rich or something like that.
Mm,
So I'm interested to see what this is gonna like bring to us for like ideas and what kind of like, storyline this is gonna try and portray. So
yeah. Like is it gonna have like the little same style, like the little bodega, like liquor store on the corner, and these
yeah,
guys sitting there like, oh, I got this stuff, I'm selling it to
yeah.
you for cheap. But yeah, so Ryan Kruger, is he like the main character from Fried Barry, right? Or is he just like one of the creators?
I think he was the creator of Fried
Okay.
Barry. But yeah, I have been in talks with him, so I'm really hoping to get him on to talk more about this before the film
Okay.
comes on. So,
Also,
um,
because even they should probably get the character from Fried Barry, the main character, because he's someone that, he can have that look of everything. Because he was actually the main, I mean, not the main character, but the guy that starred in Fried Barry,
yeah,
he was the monster that was in It. So the remake, remember when
okay,
the mom was giving the kid the pills and shit like
yeah,
that and everything, and so like the little monster came and he made the face and shit. Like that was the guy that was in Fried Barry. So
okay,
the
yeah,
little homeless guy that was outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
All
I don't
right.
know.
So I mean, yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful for it. It feels like it's in good hands.
Should be.
Just based on, Fried Berry and
Yeah.
later this year. We'll see it. It's coming out later this year. So
Yeah. Definitely want to check it out. I'll put it on the list.
yep.
Um. Yeah. Next, we're gonna talk about a little video game news. We got Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the video game. That's gonna arrive on June 4th on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's gonna have like the same style as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday the 13th. It's a multiplayer online experience. So you and your crew as, the killer clowns from outer space trying to sit
Yeah.
there and take over some multiplayer killers. You know what I mean? Like you try to take them down. It'll be a good time. So
I think
I
that's gonna
I
be
love
awesome.
yeah, I love the experience. That's one of my son's favorite video game. I mean, video favorite movies. So when I had told him a while ago when they were going to be creating that, Gunn was also going to be a part of this too. So they've been doing things over at the video game conventions and stuff. And I think on the 21st of this month, you're gonna be able to play like hands-on and stuff and then kind of get interactive with the game. So a lot of clips and everything have been put out on the social media pages and stuff, and it looks great. So
Yeah. Yeah. Everything I've seen looks awesome. I have a feeling this is gonna be a huge
yeah.
one. So
Yep.
very cool.
So June 4th.
June
See you guys
4th.
online.
Yeah. Um, some huge news dropped today.
Hmm.
Huge news. Like huger than the universe news.
Huger than the universe.
I'm talking about the Pooniverse.
The
Yeah, that's right,
Pooniverse.
everyone. We have
Poontang.
we have a Pooniverse film heading our way. We have a whole Pooniverse of characters. So they're marking 2025. Jagged Edge Productions, not to be confused with the R&B group of the
Meet me
90s.
at the altar.
They are, and there's the other company that they've been making these films with. They are announcing that Pooniverse will be a collection of all like the twisted Disney characters like Bambi, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet. Um, all of them are gonna like join together like Marvel Universe. Basically, this is
Mm.
like if Marvel can do this, why can't we do this with our and they're calling it a twisted, I think it's twisted tale, like fairy tales or twisted Disney characters, something like that. But anyways, before we get to the Pooniverse, though, we are going to have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 coming out the weekend of March 28th, I think. Then we're going to have Bambi the Reckoning, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and Pinocchio Unstrung. Those are
Okay.
all going to release as like individual films first.
Now I wonder how this is going to be done because, you're putting it together as a Pooniverse, Pooniverse, right?
Yes.
So in the Marvel universe, the big, villain was Thanos. So now you're putting these films together to build a team to take down who? Is it going to be
Yeah,
Walt
that's
Disney? Is it going to be Walt Disney?
oh, I hope not.
Like, hey,
That's dark.
how can you let us go? How can you let the rights
Yeah,
go?
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
To go and kill
Uh,
him. Like, we made you money. We made you so much money.
why
You
did you
let us
create
go.
us just to abandon us? The Twisted Childhood universe is the universe this is all going to be called.
Mm,
So they're going to make all these individual films similar to how they did with the Avengers, and then they're going to all assemble for the Pooniverse film in 2025. Um, I don't know. People love Winnie the Pooh. It just won a Razzie, which
yeah.
I think almost highlights like something positive. Like people are talking about your film. Everybody went to go check out Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Like
Yeah.
everybody went to go see that. Some people walked away and they appreciated the hell out of it. There's people like us who kind of already knew what to expect because we've
Yeah.
watched Jagged Edge movies for quite a while now. So like I didn't go in thinking it was going to be something it wasn't. Like I also know that in a Jagged Edge production, they're working with minimal budget. So there's some movies where they're wearing masks and literally the mouth doesn't move when they talk. And
Hmm.
I know that that's just because that's their budget. And like that, I learned to expect that. But some people saw Winnie the Pooh and were like, what the hell is this? Other
Yeah.
people were like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. It ended up in some school classrooms for the movie of the day
Yeah,
by
I heard about
mistake,
that. Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's
hey, that's
hilarious.
what happens, It is what it is. And so,
It's funny that it won a Razzie though, because like as for whatever people want to say about it, like there was a ton of people that really did really like this film. It
oh, yeah.
wasn't like the Bye Bye Man back in the day where everybody like I don't think I ever heard one good thing about the Bye Bye Man. It,
What was it? The poopy boy. What was that shit?
the Pee
They
Pee
were
Poo
like,
Poo Man.
yeah. Oh,
Oh yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I think that this is like all right. I'm my first instinct was like I hate that we're tainting all these childhood characters and like even when they were announcing like the Steamboat Willie and the Mickey Mouse movies,
Yeah.
I'm like oh come on. Um, I'm 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 softening up to it a little bit. I'm actually kind of excited with some of these titles. I'm like I gotta kind of see where these go.
Yeah, and like I always said, like even from the beginning when they first announced like the Winnie the Pooh movie years ago, like as you said, we have roots with, Jagged Edge. I've always just gave them their props because it's like marketing and everything and just being quick to the punch to have something like this and just being like really smart. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. It's like what can I do? You know what I mean? Let me make an audience for something different. Let me continue to keep like have horror, something fresh, something different that's gonna make people say what. And this is what they've been doing, because that's what you want to get into entertainment for is to open the door to different shit,
yeah.
try different things instead of doing the same things over and over, which
Here's
we can continue to complain about, but
exactly. And here's what I love that Jagged Edge has finally done. They've always kind of played catch up.
yeah,
So like they like Pet Cemetery came out. So they did Pet Graveyard.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of examples of that in the Jagged Edge films where it's like a popular movie was made. So they made like this like cheaper version, lower budget version of it,
yeah,
like filmed in like 10 days or 18 days, and stuff like that. Right now, they're ahead of the curve and people
yeah,
are now going to be copying their films, which,
exactly.
congrats to them. I also want to say a quick shout out to Scott Chambers, who we did the whole review for Dr. Jekyll,
Yep.
and at no point like we mentioned him several times because he's obviously one of the main characters in Dr. Jekyll. Totally
Hmm.
forgot that he was in Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to be in Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, I believe, too, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Isn't
shout
he?
out to him.
He's what's your boy's name from Winnie the Pooh? Uh,
Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin. That's what he
Yeah,
plays,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I know he's in it. So
Christopher
I
Robin.
after I saw he was like making rounds talking about Winnie the Pooh, I was like, oh shit, we just literally just
Yeah.
saw him on Dr. Jekyll. So
Yeah, it's
um
crazy because you look at Jagged Edge films, like their films, like you see them sitting in Walmart all the time, like
yeah,
on the shelves. So they're right next to the main movies, and then they have their little section,
yeah,
and it's kind of just their style is kind of like the cereal section. We have the main cereal at the top, and then those fake cereals at the bottom.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
got
Fruity
fake Fruit
O's.
Loops. Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is,
Um,
but they still sell though.
I mean,
You,
honestly, that is kind of what caught our eye years ago was like, oh, look at this like spin-off of
yeah,
this, of like Pet Cemetery or whatever it was. They did Cupid back in the day, which I loved Cupid.
yeah. We had them on and talked about
Yeah,
that.
that's actually kind of what first drove our attention towards them. But they've been doing this for quite a while. They're cinematically like the camera like the cinematography looks really nice. They used to spend a lot more money on that than I think on other things, and it would be like
Hmm.
faster production. But now that they made quite a bit of money off of Winnie the Pooh, we're going to start seeing some bigger budget projects, which I already think we're going to see in Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey too, from what I'm understanding. So
Yeah, and it's cool because shout out to Jagged Edge again. They open the doors to a lot of up and coming actors. So
yes,
it's
yep,
cool. So we've been able to talk to a lot of them,
yep,
and their careers have been great. It's a stepping stone. It's something that gets them in their door. And they get them some credits in the films and get them some experience. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool.
Those films are definitely my guilty pleasures. Like every now and then I'll be like, "Oh, Curse of Humpty Dumpty," or "Oh, Medusa." Like they
Ooh,
just always got something crazy. Um, some other big news announced today, other than the Pooniverse, but not too far off from that. Little Shop of Halloween Horrors has been announced. So this is a newer film, and Joe Dante and Roger Corman are both attached to it. So it'll
okay.
be the Little Shop of Horrors like reboot. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be a reboot or what, but it's called Little Shop of Halloween Horrors.
Yeah,
This
you,
is
you
like
see
breaking
more.
news today, so I don't know
Yeah,
like what exactly this is going to look like down the road. But yeah, this is Roger Corman's producing. I think Joe Dante is directing. Um, Interesting.
yeah. Using had some words with Joe Dante also too, huh?
He did, yeah. He was just unleashed. I like that about him.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck.
Um, so yeah, I mean that'll be interesting to see. Keep your eyes out for future news about that project. I don't really have much else to say except for those are huge names attached to it.
Yeah,
Funny thing. A lot of people when I posted this today, comments were Roger Corman's still alive.
yeah.
Like, I think people are like feel like he's been around just for ages,
He's
which it does feel like he has been. Like thinking about all the films he's made over the years. So final, I guess, Brandon. Maybe we wrap up with this final thing.
yep.
So I mean, most people I think have probably seen it by now, whether you've seen it online or you actually saw it in the theaters more recently. The trailer for The Strangers, chapter one is out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Brandon, what do you think? What's your initial reactions to the trailer?
Watching the trailer at first, like when it just popped up on YouTube and everything like that, I felt like it was too long. But like
Yep,
we talked about this whole situation before, again, it kind of gave like a little different vibe seeing it in the theater. You know
it
what I mean?
did.
So
It
it
did. I
was like
agree.
it kind of
Yep.
fit because it was like okay, it was like a build up because we already know what the fuck it was going into it. So just being in the theater and then that trailer popping on and like some people that haven't seen the trailer before, they were kind of just like watching and like, what is this? What is this? Like even my kids, they didn't see the trailer until we went to go see Imaginary. So when the mask hit, they were
Yep.
like, huh? What?
Yeah.
what? Like, because I didn't talk to them and tell them they're coming back out with like another with more movies. So like that was the thing. Like the first time I seen Imaginary, there was a family. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. And then my kids were like, "What? Another one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're doing them over."
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing, you know. And so it looks good. I can't
Yeah.
complain. But there was one little thing when it was said when the lady said, "Why are you doing
Ah, I
this?"
knew you're, yeah, that's, I was going to comment on that
It wasn't because you're home. It was something else. What did they say? I
because you were
fucking
here, because you're
yeah,
here or something
yeah,
like
because you're
that.
here. And so
I could have done without that scene altogether. I
yeah,
get it. You're paying homage to the original one, but also like I don't want these films to become too formulaic like the Saw movies, where they're almost like you just already know exactly what you're gonna see. I would love for
yeah,
them to do like what Strangers Pray at Night did, and just like have it a different style than the previous one, so it's its
yeah.
own thing. Um,
But I think we might see something like that because, like I said, this is
Hopefully, yeah,
chapter one, and so
yeah.
it's like how they became the strangers. So this
There
is
was
before.
there was a few setup things though that made me like think like, oh man, they're almost like, are you gonna tell me the prequel almost has the same exact setup as
Yeah,
the original? Like they even have it to like they're putting on the record
yeah,
that's gonna play as everything kind of plays out. They obviously at the silhouette of the person is Tamara home.
yeah,
Um, but you know, I love Strangers, so I'm all in. I actually this is one I'm like very excited for.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's
one it's
definitely on the
one of the
top of the
only
list.
movies to really scare me in the past decade.
Mm.
I don't know, actually remember. Maybe it's even more than a decade. Actually, the original Strangers probably
Oh yeah,
past
just
two
that
decades.
creepy music and shit and everything,
Yeah,
and just the setup of it. It was just like
Home Invasion
totally
is
different.
terrifying, dude.
Yeah, it's totally different. And
Yeah.
so that's why when the second one came out and it had that 80s slasher style, I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people
Yep.
hated it, but I thought it was decent.
I
So
loved it. Yeah.
yeah,
I like how they took the stuff we loved in the first one and they put their own twist on it, made it its own thing.
yeah,
Made it so you weren't just like sitting there comparing it side by side the whole time. I thought, at least I wasn't. I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is its own film. It's like same characters, but it's a different vibe altogether.
yeah,
So this one feels a little bit more like the first one. But
yeah,
there
I'm
was
ready.
also, remember back in the day they had those little short films
Yeah,
of the strangers, and like those are, if people really do love the strangers and you haven't seen those, you should YouTube those. They're little like short fan films, and it kind of like each one kind of explained each of the characters. I thought those were really well done.
yeah. And so definitely, yeah, definitely check this out when it comes out. Showcase Cinemas. We'll be there. We'll be there opening night. What about you, Dave? You gonna be there opening night?
As close to it as I can. I'll
Ah,
definitely be
shit.
seeing that in theaters at least.
Yeah,
Shout out to Showcase Cinemas for also like always taking care of us when we do go. And it's
yeah,
always a great experience there. So that's, I mean, that's kind of made it more enticing to go to the theaters again. Like they're
yep.
doing a lot to kind of like make it a better experience and
Yeah,
make
just like
people want
even
to
the,
get there.
the new popcorn, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that, have you tried the Oreo popcorn yet?
No, I didn't. So I ordered my popcorn, and then I look as I was walking away from the concessions. I saw that, but I'll be honest with the Cheetos one.
Yeah, the Cheeto one,
I'm getting that next
I
time.
haven't tried it yet. So they made that a new combo now. So that's number six. You can get two medium sodas and that for like $20.
Okay.
So it's not bad. Yeah, the Oreo one's not bad. So my son works at Showcase Cinemas now. So it's funny. Like I would always just get my regular popcorn. He goes, Dad, what are you doing? Like, you gotta try this Oreo one. It's like good. I'm like, let me see. I'm like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to
Yeah.
try it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, And he goes, yeah, it's good, huh? And I gotta play it off like I don't really care. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Whatever. And then so he's like, we went to go see Dune 2, and then I
Yeah.
got the Oreo popcorn. He goes, oh, I thought you didn't care. I'm like, it's all right. I just wanted to get a few.
And then you
But
got
yeah.
your sandworm popcorn bucket. Not a
uh,
showcase product.
yeah. But
More
yeah,
like an amazing
definitely.
superstore one.
So yeah, definitely shout out to Showcase. Yeah, we talked about it last time. The Kung Fu
Yeah.
Panda shit that they had. So
Oh, there's also I gotta get this next time I go there. Uh the Slimer from Ghostbusters Icy
oh
right now.
yeah,
Did you have it?
I could have had it, but I'm like, damn, I'm not in the mood for it because
Same. I wanted to get it, but I didn't last time. I'm like, I'm getting it
Yeah,
next time though.
because when I go to the movies, I get my popcorn and I get Sprite, but I get the zero calorie ones, like zero sugar and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I put like the little sweet like what is it, the vanilla one, and it kind of makes like a cream soda. But so I was looking at that damn
You
icy
getting
though.
it, making your own sodas over there.
Yeah, man,
A
that's what you
chemist.
do. That's what you do. I get a little cream soda. Sometimes I can put the little fruit punch in there. Like,
See, while you're doing that, I'm putting the straw in my popcorn so I can get so I put the
yeah.
butter into the bottom of the the bag.
Yeah, I remember when we were sitting there, you were doing that. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing?
It's a genius hack right there. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I seen it. They have actually a few flavors. There's yeah, the Slimer one, and there's a blue one.
yeah, the blue
Something
raspberry.
freeze. Yeah, but
Yep.
I think they gave them all different names, but the Slimer is definitely the one that stands out. I was
Yeah.
trying to talk my kids into getting it. They didn't want to get it. They'd always get those damn ices though, but yeah, I'll try it when I go to see Ghostbusters. How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. The only thing I hate is the showcase next to me. It doesn't have a full bar. And the one, if I want to go a little further, or even Providence, but I
Yeah,
prefer the Warwick one when I can. They
yeah,
got the full bar going on over there, and they
yeah.
had
They
done
have
like
that one.
they had Dune like special alcohol drink. So I was wish I would have been able to get to that in time. I don't think it's still there right now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, oh, you go to the one that's over in Attleboro.
North Attleboro, yeah, because it's
Uh,
like 10
yeah,
minutes from me.
I started to go over to that one. It's low key. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
So,
saw Imaginary with like 5 people, and that might have been because it was trash or because it's just low key over there. I don't know.
yeah, it's low key over there. Not bad.
Just kidding, Imaginary. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
All right.
Were
Well,
you really with five people, but you were just by yourself? You thought some people were in there with you.
good question. It was Chauncey
Chauncey
was
was in
behind
there
me.
with you in five seats.
Yeah. Well, we just captured as much as we could of the past 3 months.
Hmm.
We'll try not to let this go as long next time, so that we don't have so much to squeeze into one episode. But at the same time, I feel like we were able to cover a pretty decent amount of ground today.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
good job to us.
Good
Uh,
job.
all right, everybody, we'll be back next week. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Also, I guess just like a moment of appreciation for everyone who does listen. More recently than ever, we've gotten a lot of people like reaching out to us, just giving us feedback. We did the PVD horror radio episode about
Yeah.
horrorcore. We got a ton of messages on that one of people just like just either filling us in on artists that they listen to that they think we should check out, or just kind of like saying like sharing their thoughts about some of the topics that we brought up in that episode. I thought that was awesome. It's great to hear feedback. It's cool to hear people connecting to some of the stuff that we're bringing up too. So
Yeah. We're creating our own little Pooniverse, PVD horror universe with all
yeah, yeah,
different shit. So
yeah,
keep people entertained. Talk about
yes,
other things than just movies
I,
that's connected to horror. So we're talking about
yes.
everything.
I think that's going to be a big focus of ours for this year, especially is like kind of bringing it into all the different subgenres of everything that horror consists of. So it's
Hmm.
obviously not just movies, but it's music, it's books, it's video games.
Yep.
So yeah, if there's things that you guys want to hear us talk about, or if you have suggestions for any of those episodes, now that we're kind of laying them out, reach out to us, let us know. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
See you later.